Hi guys, I'm back with another easy meal that has, now this meal has a lot more ingredients, but it's actually very simple to do. So this will feed my family of 6, and again we have leftovers. In fact, when I made it before, I had a whole pot left. And I thought what a good idea would be to try to bake it the next day as leftovers. The baking didn't turn out so great. I don't know if I just overcooked it or what, but it wasn't so good. Possibly if it was a little drier, it would have been better. I don't know. But anyway, so this is called tortellini soup. This is on Pinterest, and this is what it will look like when you're finished. The difference with this, the Pinterest recipe and mine, is instead of buying packed spinach, I bought the Barilla tortellini with spinach in it. My kids aren't real fond of spinach, so I thought this is a way to get it in without anybody noticing. So for a family of 6, I do 2 bags. I probably could get away with just 1, like I said, because I had a lot left over. But it's also really good, so it could be heated up the next day. So another thing that makes this meal super easy is I have mentioned in a previous, on the chicken soup recipe, these Tyson grilled ready chicken. This one is a shredded chicken, so you can use it in, you could put it in your chicken soup, you could put it in any soup that would, would be good with shredded up chicken. So this makes it so that you can have this meal ready in a very, I would say, I think this says 4 to 6 hours on low. You could actually have this ready, I'm sure, under an hour. And you might do 2 hours just because you want it to be cooking a little bit longer. So you'll have that bag, and then you need 2 cans of 14.5 ounce petite diced tomatoes. So you have 2 cans of that. And then your tomato paste. And I thought I would try this basil, garlic, and oregano flavored one. I didn't do that before, but I think it would be good. You want a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. This one is more like the fresh, but I don't think it really matters. Although I would say this is probably the best one to put on. And then it's a 1/3 cup of flour. You've got 2 garlic cloves. You need 1 onion, and you need some basil. You need 32 ounces or 4 cups of chicken broth, so that you got that there. And then it asks for heavy whipping cream, but you can also use 1/2 and 1/2. You don't have to get this. I did 1/2 and 1/2 last time, and I just thought I have a couple recipes that ask for, that call for the whipping cream, and I thought it would be nice to try it. It's a little bit different than, but this just has more fat in it than 1/2 and 1/2, but you can use it for the same reason, for cream and anything you're cooking. So that's pretty much all the ingredients. I'm going to start putting it together, and once I get it put together, I'm going to come back on and show you exactly what I did and how to follow it in your recipe. And I also mentioned the trick, the thing I do with Pinterest on my last video, the chicken soup video. I go to my boards, and I created a board not only for recipes, so you put all your recipes that you like in there, but I created a board that says this week's dinner meals. And then I went ahead and I started moving things from the recipe to this one, so that all I have to do is click on that board and it gives me all the recipes that I want for that week. So that's a really cool feature to have on Pinterest. So I will be back on in a few minutes to show you exactly what steps you need to do to put this in and how easy it is. Okay guys, I'm back. So I went ahead and I pulled out everything that I needed, and I showed you what it is that's going to go into making the meal. So I had to dice up the onion, the garlic, and then what you do is you add the tomato paste, the garlic, the onion, your flour, and you drizzle it with olive oil. Then they want you to put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, but they want you to stir it every 90 seconds. So what I usually do is, I've already had it in for 1 minute, so I'm gonna, let me take it back out here. I'm gonna stir it. I got ahead of myself there. So I'm gonna stir it up a little bit. in that process, while you're waiting for that, you would add to your crock pot, lighting isn't so good. To your crock pot, you're gonna add your diced tomatoes and your chicken broth. And once this thickener is finished, so this is sort of like a roux, it's gonna thicken the soup. So once this is finished, then we're gonna add it to the crock pot, and then we are going to add the chicken to the crock pot. So I'm gonna finish this in the microwave, get it added, and I will come back to show you what to do next. Okay guys, so now we're really at the end of preparation. So the recipe, this is where you're really saving your time. The recipe calls for, and again, let me see if it will. So the recipe says that you want to put it on low for 4 to 6 hours until your chicken is tender. And then it says to take your chicken out and shred it up and put it back in. You're going to be able to skip all these steps. You're not going to have to do that at all. Now I'm putting it in the crock pot on low, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to eat until 4:35. So I'll have it on low, just cooking, and I'll be watching it. But I won't add the cream, the Parmesan cheese, and the tortellini until like literally 15-20 minutes before we're gonna eat. So they say that the cream has to be warm because otherwise it curdles. So I'll leave it out to keep it warm. Typically, see, I won't leave it out all day today. I'll pull it out and let it warm for like the last hour, you know, like my last hour. So all these things get added just 15 to 20 minutes prior to you eating. But right now, to finish up everything, I finished microwaving the roux. This is what it looks like, you know, and the pan is going to be pretty hot, so you know, be careful of that. And then you add your chicken, and this is what, you know, chicken goes into is your broth and your diced tomatoes. So I'm just going to set this down for a second here, and I'm going to pour the chicken in, and then I'm going to add this roux, and that's kind of one of the reasons I put the phone down, because since the pan is so hot, I have to use both hands, you know, so as to not burn myself, and you definitely want to be careful on that. Okay, so that's done. And one thing I always like to do is clean up as I'm cooking so that there's not a big, huge mess. Okay, so now you've got your roux in there and your chicken, and we're just going to stir it up so that it's nice and, I don't want to splash myself, mixed well, because you just want to get that roux, that thickening, you know, mixed up in there among all this stuff. And your chicken is frozen, but it's pre-cooked, so once that heats up, really you don't have to do anything else. So, like I said, we're not eating for a while, so I will probably just leave this on low, and I'll keep my eye on it. I can always add chicken broth if some of that broth is evaporated. Also, when you add your noodles, it tends to soak up the juice too. So you might find yourself adding water or more chicken broth. Now, you don't have to worry really about adding water. It will still keep its flavor. And if you have the chicken bouillon cubes, then you're even more set to go, because all you have to do is add this, and it will keep your soup from being, you know, keep it tasting the same. So that all goes in. I'm going to cover it and leave it on. And like I said, I'll just keep checking on it. It's pretty thick consistency right now, and that's okay. You probably are going to want to add, it depends on you guys, your family. If you like it thick, then you'll keep it the way it is. If you want it more soupy, you'll add more broth or water, like I mentioned. So you leave this going, and really this is it. So if you were cooking right now to feed your family in an hour or 2 hours, you're all set. So you've got everything in there. It will cook on its own. And when you're ready to eat, you add your tortellini, you add your cheese, you add your cream. That cream is what's going to give it that pretty color. And then you wait for the tortellini to cook, and then you're all set. So I hope you guys like this recipe. This is a little more involved than the chicken noodle soup I showed you earlier, but it's still really easy. All I did was pull out all the ingredients, and then the longest part for me was opening those darn tomato cans. And then, you know, you're dicing your onion and your garlic. But really, I mean, it's pretty quick and very easy and very inexpensive. And like I said, it's really, really good. And my kids loved it. So I hope you guys like it. Feel free to leave comments at the bottom, you know, how well you guys liked it or any suggestions you might have to make it even better. And I will leave the link to the recipe on Pinterest so that you can find it for yourself as well. And then also, if you would like to email me, feel free to do so. I'll make sure my email is at the bottom. So this is the 2 meals that I've posted today was for 2 meals that we have tested and we know we like. And I will add more videos as I continue to try new recipes, and I'm basically testing them out for you so that I can tell you whether they're really good or if they're easy or if they're really inexpensive, because I'm looking for budget friendly, tasty, and quick. Easy, I don't have to stand in here for hours and cook. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to be testing all these recipes, and then I'm going to let you see, you know, I'll let you know how easy or hard it was and whether I would recommend it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you try the recipe. I hope everybody likes it. And I'll be back soon. Bye, guys.